Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Bwaaa!
Bwaaa trash fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hello, welcome back to Bwaaa, a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. I am Mike.
Bwaaa, and I'm Rusty. I forgot my Bwaaa. Yeah, I forgot my Bwaaa when you Bwaa'd, so I had to redo the Bwaaa. So we've got
all over the place.
So we've got season 2, episode 14, and
I remember Mono.
I remember Mono. It's a great episode.
It
I
is
really
a
like
very
this
good episode. Yeah,
This is,
it gives us a lot of character development.
yeah,
here.
it gives us some character development. We get some backstory.
And again, no bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell.
Yep.
But you'll like this one. This episode was written by Paul Lieberstein.
Toby.
Yep. So
All right, fantastic.
and then the ever famous Wesley Archer, Wes Archer,
Yeah.
the animator, he the animation director, he's the one that directs this one. So this one's got great animation direction.
It is. It's a very good one.
I like this one too.
We start off at Hank's house. This is we find out around Valentine's Day. Bobby is being offered some food by Peggy, and he says, "No time to eat. I got to get this Valentine done so I can mail it by tomorrow."
Well,
and
at least eat the butter, Bobby.
Peggy
It's loaded with vitamin A.
The best motherly advice
yeah,
ever.
Bobby.
Just eat the butter.
You slightly overweight boy, eat the butter. Eat the butter, Bobby.
Vitamin A. Okay.
Yeah.
Hank
vitamin
responds.
going straight to my ass.
Hank responds by saying, "Hey, what's this, Bobby? You have a girlfriend? Happy Valentine's Day, Joseph. Love, Bobby.
Hey,
hot
hot
stuff. Bobby, you can't give this to Joseph." He says, "Why
not? He is hot stuff. You should see him skateboard.
You should see him skateboard."
So innocent.
Hank's like, "Bobby, if you give a Valentine to a 6th grade boy, girls are going to think you're sensitive. And
something like that can
something
follow
like
you for the
that
rest of your
can
life."
follow you. He says, "Now,
Hey
here's a
guys, hold on.
candy."
I want to give everybody a tip.
Yeah.
Girls actually like sensitivity in men. Don't let Hank Hill fool you.
That's not been my experience, but okay. He has one of the little candy hearts, and he says, "Now here's a candy for Joseph." It says, "Hey, you're okay."
Yeah, we'll put
And
this
then he
card
goes,
over
"We'll
here
just
for
put this-"
now.
He puts it
Yeah.
right in the trash.
Throws it away.
Yeah, and Luann's like, "Oh, I can use that." And Bobby's, "Who's your Valentine, Luann?" She says, "Me." Since Buckley said he's gonna forget Valentine's
Yeah,
Day
Buckley already
again.
told her, yeah, I'm going to forget Valentine's Day.
She finally made herself realize that to love yourself, that's
the greatest love of all.
Isn't that right, Aunt Peggy? She said, "No." He said,
Uh,
and Hank's
nope.
like, "No, that's not
Not
really true at all.
In fact, yeah, it's totally
and she's so depressed
opposite
by that.
of the truth.
Yeah, she's trying to convince herself.
Yeah.
Peggy
She
says,
spends her whole life trying to convince herself that Buckley is worthy.
No kidding, right?
All the way up
not
until
her
she
whole
meets
life, but
Lucky.
Yeah. She says, Peggy spars off with, "Love between two people is the greatest thing there is. At least that's true of Uncle Hank and I. Would you like to hear the story of how we first realized we were meant to be together?"
I'm
And
listening.
And she's like all slumped down in her chair,
Yeah.
Luann. She's, "I'm listening." She says, and here comes the flashback. She says, "Well, our first Valentine's Day, we weren't even in the same room, but I have to say it may have been our most romantic." And you see the school bus pull up. You see Peggy get out of the bus. She's got her softball uniform on.
Yep. She's out there warming up.
Yeah. She said her school, West Arlen, was playing Hank's school, Arlen High.
So Arlen is a decent sized city.
It is a
It's
decent
got two
sized
high
city. We got two
schools.
high
Yeah.
schools. Yeah. We got two high schools here in this city. So
multiple
I
high
would
schools,
imagine
yeah.
it's about the same size, right?
Well, I guess in the metropolitan area, there's a lot of high schools.
Yeah, sure. She says that Hank and her had been dating about 6 months and that things were really heating up.
Ooh, heating up.
Yeah, and you think that it a lot of kissing and necking and things like that. Submarine watching is what they used to call it. You ever heard
Submarine
that?
watching.
You ever heard
I've
submarine
never heard of
watching?
that. That's a new one. Yeah.
So if you watch any movies from like the 50s or I think maybe they say it in American Graffiti. Somebody can check me on that. But when they go up to like Lover's Leap or whatever and they all park and kiss in the cars, some of them would call it submarine watching.
Submarine watching. No, I've never heard of that. That's
it's just
funny.
stupid. You know where I think I heard that was Happy Days, probably.
Oh, Happy Days.
Happy Days are here again. And so we get a example of things really heating up between Hank and Peggy. We get Miss Platter, hello, and she says, "Well, hello to you, Mr. Hill." He says, "Take it easy on our girls." She says, "I certainly will not."
Yeah, certainly will
He
not.
thinks that's funny. He says, Valentine's Day is coming up. She says, yes. One of the girls on the bus had mentioned that.
Like she didn't have any idea that it was happening. Like she was oblivious to it.
He says, yeah, some of the other guys, their girlfriends are making them dinner. And she says, oh, so he said, yeah, I was thinking maybe you could make me dinner. She said, yeah, I could. That's a great idea. I could make you dinner. He says, all right, I'll see you later. So that is literally heating up between the two of them. They never touch, they never kiss, they never hug, nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a conversation that could be between anybody at the water cooler at the office.
Yeah.
I mean, it's devoid of passion.
No passion whatsoever. Yeah.
So now we see Peggy trying to cook, and this is the first time we see Peggy's mom, right?
Yeah, I think so. Is this the first time you see her? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure this is. Yeah, this is the first time.
She says, "Oh, hun, that's so cute. Your first big meal. It must be." And then she's taken back. She goes, "Peggy, you're not trying to make." And Peggy says, "That's right. Beef Wellington, cherry pie." Or her mom says, "Cherry pie. Also, why not try to build him a rocket ship?" She says, "Mom, would you stop it? He is my boyfriend. It's my dinner. I will cook it." But her mother says, "Peggy, if Hank discovers you cannot even bake, it is all over." She says, "You think I can't see that?"
Yeah. So this is my argument. Okay. So this is my argument.
Yeah.
Hear me out. So if Hank had eaten her food, since he's not able to eat her food.
Yeah.
If Hank had eaten her food.
Spoiler.
Oh, we're not that far yet, are we?
It's okay.
Oh, I jumped a little
fine.
ahead.
It's no big deal.
Okay. Well, if Hank had not eaten her food, would they still be together?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's
If he had
a
eaten it.
pretty thin line right there.
Because I think that's
your
what that
bar,
is. I think that's what those guys were doing. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
we'll let the girls cook and see which girls can cook.
I guess, man.
Yeah, because I mean, back
That's
in this
rough,
day,
though.
it was a lot of that. They had a lot of those mommy problems, and everybody wanted someone like their mom to cook for them,
problems.
and mother issues. Yeah, mommy issues.
I get it. I get what you're saying. But she says, "You think I can't see that?" And her mother fires back with, "Don't say can't. You will not use contractions in this house."
You will not use contractions in this house,
Which is fantastic.
Which is funny because she says do not, and she doesn't ever say don't or cannot or can't. She always says cannot or do not.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why you know that now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you see it came from. Then we get kind of a montage of Peggy cooking or trying to cook.
Trying to.
She is screaming at the beef Wellington because it's not cooking fast enough.
Nope.
She's crying. She
It's a really
pours
hard
more,
thing to cook.
Oh, she pours more sherry on the beef Wellington, then lights it on fire, burns her eyebrows off. She has to draw them back on.
Pitiful,
I mean,
it's a bad
rough.
situation. It's a bad situation.
Yeah.
It's a situation that might cause a man to not marry a woman
That's right.
in a different time.
Back in
yeah.
the 80s.
Before Uber Eats. Yeah.
Before Uber Eats.
Yeah, I mean, you can order whatever you want from the house now. So,
That's
if she
That's
can't
right.
cook, she can sure hit the phone button and dial it.
Sponsor us, Uber Eats.
Yeah, there you go.
So Peggy is really feeling sorry for herself, and the phone rings. Her mother comes to her and says, "There's a phone call for you, dear. And by the way, your eyebrows look very nice."
Yeah. Penciled on.
So Peggy gets on the phone, and it's Hank. He says that he's really sorry, but he had pulled some tendons in his back, and he can't come over for dinner. And Peggy perks up a little bit. She's like, "You can't?" He said, "Oh, don't cry, Peggy. I'm sorry I ruined your Valentine's Day." She said, "You didn't. I mean, I'm just so glad you're okay." He says, "But I'm not. I'm not okay. That's what I'm telling you."
Yeah.
He says, "I must be missing a great dinner, huh?" She said, "I mean, be Wellington." He says, really? Is that steak? He doesn't even know what
it
beef
doesn't-
Wellington is.
It's not steak, but yeah.
She goes, yes, sir. And I made a cherry pie.
And
Oh,
a blueberry
pie.
So this scene is weird to me. They're having phone sex.
It really is phone
but
sex.
all they're doing is discussing the meal that she can't even cook.
Yeah. She
it's a weird scene.
he says, wow, Peggy, I love both those pies. Hey, hold one of them up to the phone so I can smell it. Just so weird.
Yeah.
She says,
It's
I'm
a really
holding
weird
one up to
scene.
the phone right now. Oh, it's hot. He goes, oh, yeah. I'm just imagining eating it. So tasty.
And the soup I made is good too. Cream
of beef Wellington. He goes,
soup.
my favorite. She goes, oh, you dropped a little on your chin. He goes, oh. She goes, I dabbed it with a napkin. Uh-huh. Oh, no, you got a little on your earlobe. Your
like,
earlobe.
Yeah. What was he?
She goes,
was he eating out of a fucking trough or what? I don't know. That was great.
She goes, oh, no. She goes, oh, no, you got a little on your earlobe. I'll get it. And he goes, I'm just a big, clumsy guy. And then they both just giggle. And then we go back to real time, and Bobby and Luann, literally like 5 beats, they just go, just staring at her. They're like, oh my God, what are we listening to? She says, 2 weeks later, when his back had healed, we were engaged to be engaged. Is that promise ring? Is that what that is? Engaged to be engaged? I guess that's kind of promise ring territory.
I don't know. Most of the people I know that got promise rings were sadly disappointed when they found out that was just a promise that I hope that this is going to get me some,
exactly
kind of ring. This is
probably came out of a 25-cent machine.
Yeah, it's a deposit for a sexual encounter.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Hank says, if I hadn't hurt my back that day, I wouldn't have known she couldn't cook, and then I would have been forced to not marry this little gal. So you got your answer. Yeah, you got your answer.
I told you. I knew he said it somewhere. Yeah.
And so Luann says, wow, so I guess what they say is true. There's somebody out there for everybody. And Hank's like, no, I don't think that follows at all, Luann.
Not at all.
He's like, nope, not for everybody. She is so disappointed. She's like, oh. And then Peggy pipes up and says, oh, guess what else? I'm going to see that old school today. I've been subbing for the record keeper. And Hank responds to this with like real nostalgia in his voice, Oh, the old high school, huh? Boy, I hadn't been there since. And then he says, well, the season ended, so I guess 2 months ago. Yeah,
2 months.
2 months.
I got a wild theory. So what if when they reboot the new episode, Hank and Peggy, because we see right here, Hank and Peggy, what if they only stay together until Bobby graduates?
Oh, goodness.
And then what if you get a whole, like, a separation between Peggy and Hank, and then Hank's like, quit the propane business, cashed out his 401k, buys a motorcycle, buys an RV, tours the nation.
What I'm most aghast at is the fact that you think he has a 401k. There's no way that Buck Strickland gave him a 401k.
I think he mentions a 401k at some point.
He had him feeding his dogs last episode.
Yeah, for extra 10 on the 401k. I'll put 10.
Man.
I'll put an extra 10% in your 401k this week.
No way. Next scene we see
or whatever his. I mean, I'm sure he's got a plan.
He's got a 401h or something. It's still okay. Next scene we see Bobby and Joseph outside, and the mailman's coming up, which we don't see the mailman a lot. He says, got a package for you, Bobby. And Bobby says, happy Valentine's Day. Love your secret admirer. P.S. Expect me Valentine's night. Whoa. And then Joseph's like, oh, who could it be? He says, the only girl you ever talked to is Connie. And I honestly, in rewatching this episode, I literally thought it was Connie. I just couldn't remember. I remember who it was. I won't. But I remember who it was. I thought it was funny. Yeah. He says, I know. Hey, it could be Carrie Strug. At least I hope it's Carrie Strug. Now, did you know Carrie Strug?
I don't know exactly who she was, but I knew she was an Olympic athlete, which is this is the first episode. She's mentioned one more time in an episode called Rodeo Days.
1996 Olympics. She's the one that broke her ankle and still finished her routine.
Oh, so she was an ice skater.
The gymnast.
Oh, a gymnast. Okay.
All of America fell in love with this little girl.
You said summer, and I said ice skating.
It's okay.
Okay.
She jumped into the arms of her Russian coach. And boy, they were on every TV show for 2 years.
Yeah. They probably did the whole Good Morning America, all that stuff.
Yeah. That was 96.
Howard Stern.
This is 98. So, I mean, she was still in the zeitgeist, right?
Well, 98. I mean, they'd be training for the next Olympics.
Yeah. So next scene we see we're at Arlen High, and Peggy is in.
And Carrie Strug is voiced by Carrie Strug.
Oh, really?
It's actually,
I didn't know that.
actually Carrie Strug.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And
she doesn't say much, but she is voiced by her.
Yeah, she doesn't say much, but they actually got Carrie Strug to put a voice clip on there.
That's
so
pretty
it's,
cool.
You know, even
Yeah.
if it is a 2-second, 3-second voice clip, there's actually another celebrity in here too. We'll get to her here.
So
in a
we're
minute.
back at Arlen High, and we've got Peggy and Becky in the office, and they are doing a lot of data entry.
Code 12, tardiness. Code 16, not following directions. Code 40, following directions too closely. You don't see that much.
I love that from Peggy.
Yeah.
Now we get old Becky, and she says, "Oh, this takes me back. Rhonda Culpepper. I went to school with her. Did you know she was a Code 42?" And Peggy gasps and says, "No." She goes, "I thought she'd just gotten fat for a semester." So I'm assuming Code 42 is a pregnant teenager. Yeah.
So this is the, I think this is the one and only episode with this Becky character.
Yeah.
And I don't even know
Can't imagine
if
Becky being a regular.
I don't even know if they list who did the voice. No, they didn't even list the voice. They just say Becky, female, hair
just
orange,
Becky.
age 42. Yeah.
Hair orange.
That's what it says. Hair orange.
Orange hair.
Job record keeper.
She says, "Hey, I think we know this character." And Peggy's like, "Becky, we're not paid to snoop." And she says, "All right then, Hank Hill, permanent record 55402." And she's just clicking away on her keyboard. She says, "Give me that freaking file. 4th grade, kicked out of chorus for refusing to sing. Where have all the flowers gone?" So he was kicked out in the 4th grade.
That's
for
funny.
refusing
Out
to
of
sing.
chorus for refusing.
And
Yeah.
then Peggy says, 9th grade, told the debate team to, quote, shut the hell up, which
Yeah,
is
that
also
sounds-
funny.
That sounds very Hank.
12th grade, absent for 2 weeks starting on Valentine's Day. Peggy's like, "Yep, that's when he hurt his back. It's one of our favorite stories." And then old Becky drops a bomb. She says,
Yeah, you don't have to lie to me. So she goes, he had mono.
Yeah.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she's like, mono, the kissing disease? You two must have been very busy that Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And then she says, Becky, I never had mono in my entire life. And then she
they're
gulps.
both just,
Yeah.
oop,
Ooh.
and boy, Peggy's face, it could kill a whole army.
And I like this next scene. It's one of those slice of life scenes again, where
It
it's
is.
just they're just sitting there contemplating stuff, and he looks over.
But
at
wait
Hank.
a minute. Before we get to that, let's take a quick commercial break,
Okay.
and then we'll get back in the alley with the guys.
Okay, here we go, guys. Ballsy.
Bwaaa trucks fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas.
All right, we're back. And you were saying slice of life out in the alley.
Yeah, so there's like this slice of life scene right here where you get Dale and Hank standing there. It's just Dale and Hank. There's nobody else. Everybody else
Yeah.
is doing whatever they're doing. And he looks over at Hank and goes, "Hey, Hank, did you ever wonder what it'd be like to drink beer standing over there?" And he looks over at Dale and goes, "Curiosity killed the cat, Dale."
He's literally just saying like 5 feet from here. Let's go drink beer over there.
And then I like Peggy comes storming up, but I
She
like
drives
Peggy.
up. Yeah,
she
yeah.
don't give a damn who's standing there.
no way.
You know, usually like if a wife and a husband have issues, she'll come like,
Peggy
"Hey,
don't
let's
care.
go walk over here and go talk." But Peggy doesn't give a damn. She just tells him straight up, "Hello, my husband. I was just thinking about some of your high school football days." And then he goes, "Well, good. That's a good thing to be thinking about." Like,
Man,
yeah,
if you
hell
could-
yeah.
If you could make a shirt with Peggy's face on it, it just says Peggy don't give a damn. That would be wonderful.
That'd be a
I'd
great
love
shirt.
that. Yeah,
if
I'd
you
wear
make
that.
it, if somebody makes a shirt like that,
Somebody-
I'll gladly let you send it to me.
Send it, yeah. Gladly let you
Yeah, I'll
send it to
gladly
me.
give you the address to send it to.
That's
Yeah,
right,
that'd be
that's
awesome.
right.
That'd be
Yeah,
a great shirt. But
He's-
it'd have to be like Peggy with like a
she's got to be pissed.
like scowled or
Oh,
like
yeah.
with a
Like
baseball
at the-
bat in her hand
like
or
right
something, like a
before the
softball
commercial
bat.
break, yeah.
Or like the pitch when she does
Oh,
the
yeah.
pitch face.
Or when she's
when she
pissed off,
releases.
when she's pissed off in the batting cage.
Yeah, when she's hitting the
drunk
bat.
and
Yeah,
pissed
yeah,
off.
That's a good one too.
He says that's a good thing to be thinking about. She says, like when you hurt your back and you were out for a few weeks. He says, "Oh, yeah. I took a pretty big hit. I'll tell you what." And she says, "Well, a funny thing happened today. I took a look at your permanent record, and it says that you had mono those 2 weeks. How did you get mono, Hank?"
Well, I happened to share a soda with the guy on the team one day. It was the 70s,
Everybody's sharing sodas in the 70s.
Yeah.
She says, "That's funny. On the way out of the building, I stopped by the school nurse's office. She did not mention that you could get mono that
Which
way.
just because
How would she mention that?
Well, even if she didn't mention it, it is actually the most common way that drinks mono is shared is to
Really?
drink share. Yeah, it's
Oh my
actually
God.
one,
No, I
one of
didn't
the
know
most
that.
common ways mono is spread. Yeah.
Dale
Shout out to the
says,
trivia guy for that.
Dale says, "Well, I wouldn't put too much stock in what that woman says, if you know what I mean." He goes, glug, 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 like insinuating that the woman's a big drinker.
Yeah. The
Peggy's
nurse,
like, "Oh, well, I
Dale,
wasn't aware of that." For a
Yeah, I
moment
wasn't
there,
aware of
I
that.
thought, well, never mind what I thought.
she's on the trail.
Yeah,
she's
she
gonna
walks
find out.
off, and Dale's like, "Oh my God, she's gonna find out."
And then he's like, no, she's not. She goes, unless you let something slip. And then Dale goes, I don't let things slip, Hank. I place information.
That's right.
Yeah.
We are back in class with Bobby and a few of his friends, including Joseph. Bobby says, normally I'd share these chocolates with you all, but these just came from my special admirer so they're kind of special. And then this kid in class who, do you have his name?
I don't know if they put a name out here.
He's one of the few African-American characters. But he says,
No, I didn't see a name for him.
Yeah, he says, you know what's funny? We're talking about Carrie Strug like 2 days ago. Remember, now you get this Valentine. It's probably from Carrie Strug. That is not logic right there, right? I mean, there's zero logic in that.
Zero.
We were talking about her, so it's got to be from her.
Yeah, it's got to be from her.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that is logical at this point.
So Connie is standing there, and she's kind of getting pissed because she does like Bobby. She says, why do you think she's so great? She does gymnastics. So what? Let's see her play the violin. Besides, she's in her 30s. They don't tell you that. Bobby's like, you're missing the point, Connie. She had a broken leg, and he just gets all choked up, and he said, she just
kept going.
Kept going. And then Connie leaves. Joseph says, the kid says, I think Connie likes you. He says, well, see, once a girl likes you, it's like having a ring on your finger.
Yeah.
So we're getting woman advice from Bobby now.
From
relationship
Bobby.
advice. Yeah.
Well, that's the deal, though, is Connie does like him. And it's obvious.
Yeah.
She got pissed. Like,
But
when a
even at
woman
this
gets
point-
mad about you, whenever you're in the presence of another woman and she's getting mad about you talking about another woman,
sure.
yeah, she probably likes you.
But even then, Bobby doesn't even know that. You know? Bobby's so... Anyway. Now we're back with Peggy and Becky entering some more records. And Peggy asked Becky, while you were entering those records for Hank's senior class, did you notice anyone else on the football team with mono? And Becky's like, oh, no, hon, you can't just get it out of your head, can you? She says, I know it seems silly. I just can't.
Yeah, because, their whole relationship
and
is...
then freaking Becky. She says, well, neither could I. I already did the search. There weren't any other football players with mono unless a girl named Amy Edlin was on the team.
Okay, and that brings me back to the trivia for Amy Edlin. So
I love
Amy
this. I
Edlin
love
is
this line,
voiced
too.
by Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Oh, wow, really?
Which I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
I don't
She
know
was
who
in,
she is.
was Jennifer Jason Leigh the one in Howard the Duck? Is that right? I think that's
you
right.
might be right. I don't know who she
Somebody
was.
check me.
I know she's in a few movies and stuff, but it's nothing that stuck out to me.
She was in the Brat Pack, like with the people who did Breakfast Club and Weird Science and all that stuff. All those kids were in the Brat Pack.
Like the Sheens and the Estevez.
It was Estevez, and it was Judd Nelson and Michael Anthony Hall and
Brad Pitt.
No, not Brad Pitt, but it was
Johnny
before
Depp.
him. No.
Was it all the people that were in The Outsiders?
Some of them, yeah.
Some of those guys. Like,
Some of them, yeah. There was a whole Brat Pack thing going on where they compared them to like Frank Sinatra and his Rat Pack, but they called them a Brat Pack.
The Brat Pack.
Yeah.
The 80s, right?
Yeah, it was a whole 80s thing. And so I love this line from Peggy more than life itself. She says, Becky says the girl named Amy Edlin, and Peggy says, who? So the whore played well with others, did she? It's just fantastic. She goes straight to whore. Now we're at we're at Tea and Texas Toast, which is a little eating establishment, and it's right next to the Gas and Go.
Yep, right next to the Gas and Go.
We got Peggy and Nancy sitting there having some tea and some toast. And
this is a weird exchange here. So she tells her this girl could have been drinking a soda, and she set it down next to a football player, and Hank assumed it belonged to said football player. And Nancy says, that's it, Peggy. You just take that lie and wrap it around yourself like a warm blanket. And this is kind of creepy for Peggy. This is kind of an odd thing. And I understand that her relationship is built around this story, and it's like all crumbling in front of her. But she looks up Amy Edlin in the phone book, poses as a college-bound telemarketer, finds out where she works, and then she says, I'm going to visit her today, and I'm going to get to the truth.
Nancy's like, you're making a big mistake, Shug.
And, I generally wouldn't take advice from Nancy.
Yeah,
but
but
when
in
it
this
comes to
case,
infidelity, she is a
abso-friggin-lutely.
seasoned
You are not kidding.
veteran.
She says the truth is like sunlight. People used to think it was good for you.
Yeah, if there's like congressional
Which is
medals of
wonderful.
infidelity, she
Yeah,
would have
She got it.
5 of them.
She got it. She is
she's
a
there.
5-star general of infidelity.
Yeah.
So we are now at the mall with Bobby and Joseph, and they are, which is weird because they are staring in the lingerie store. So I'm assuming this is pre-Victoria's Secret, maybe right around the time of Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, I imagine
in the
Victoria's
malls.
Secret was probably around this time.
And Joseph says, "What do you want to get her?" And Bobby says, "Something romantic and frilly, like the wife of a magician would wear," which is wonderful. And then we get a kind of a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Where Bobby and Carrie Strug are doing gymnastics with the American flag in the background and all that. And they tumble over to each other. Carrie Strug takes the medal from around her neck. She also has a rose in her hand. She takes the medal from around her neck, puts it on Bobby's neck, and says, "It's compulsory that you be my Valentine."
And that's her one line. Yeah,
Right.
That was her one line.
And then Bobby eats the chocolate medal. Because the medal
It's one of those chocolate medals. Yeah.
Because it's his dream.
Like a
so
chocolate
it's
coin or
definitely-
whatever wrapped in gold
Yeah.
foil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they finally go into the store.
And
then
I like this part.
Oh, my God. They are so overwhelmed, these middle school boys, with lingerie, bras, panties, all this stuff.
All that stuff.
They start sweating like Buck did in the last episode. And the poor lady comes up and goes, "Hello." And they both just, "Ah!" And they
Took
just
off
run out.
running. Yeah.
Oh, man, they run out
So this
fast.
next scene I really like too. So
takes place at the pink and white grocery store.
Yeah, the pink and white grocery store. So we get a scene shift, and it shifts to this Amy Edlin, and who we don't know she's Amy Edlin yet, but it's Amy Edlin.
Well, you see her name tag says Amy.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know she
Yeah.
had a name tag. Okay, so this is Amy Edlin, and she's sitting there, and she's selling ostrich, but sausage.
I want to call attention to the company.
Uh-huh.
Pollyanna Farms, ostrich farmer, right there on the thing. It says
Pollyanna
ostrich
Farms,
meat.
Ostrich meat.
Yeah.
So
Which
I
I've
got an
never
ostrich
seen
meat
anybody.
story. I got an
Really?
ostrich meat story. Yeah. So
Never seen anybody have ostrich meat.
here a while back during COVID, peak boredom.
Sure.
We kind of quarantined with two other like
Two
groups
ostriches?
of people. No, well, not ostriches. Two other groups of people. So like we quarantined with like my dad and my mom and stuff
sure,
like that, so we could
sure.
still interact with them and like
Yeah.
my sister. So we all kind of stayed
Gotcha.
in our tight knit
At
group.
the compound.
Yeah, and we decided we were going to do like these regional cooking things. We were going to
Okay.
like try to random countries in Africa,
Yeah.
random countries in Europe.
Yeah.
Well, we got to a random country in Africa. I can't remember exactly what country it was, but one of the delicacies was ostrich steaks.
Mm.
So I sourced some ostrich steaks on an exotic meat like
You
provided
had them delivered
online,
to your house?
and we ordered some ostrich steaks, and we ate some
Okay.
ostrich steaks. And
All right.
I've had an ostrich burger from that root.
Oh,
whatever it's
really?
called,
Twisted Root
Twisted
had,
Root.
had
Yeah.
an ostrich burger?
Well, they have all the
Shout
exotic
out
meat.
to Twisted Root.
Yeah, Twisted Root. They have all the exotic meat
Yeah.
burgers.
Yeah, I've seen the buffalo.
alligator,
and
buffalo,
all that stuff. Yeah.
all the weird meat. And they had ostrich,
Huh.
and I tried that.
Oh,
but
wow.
It's really good. It's like
Is it real lean,
Well,
I would imagine?
ostrich like ostrich steak.
Yeah.
It's red meat. Ostrich is red meat.
Oh, really?
It's not like a white
Yeah.
meat like
Yeah.
a bird, like you would think of a bird.
Yeah. It's like carp.
But, yeah, it's good. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of reminded me of like a red meat
Really?
fish kind of thing. But
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
good. It was really good. It was really lean.
Huh.
That's what I mean by fish.
I'm sure
was
it's
super
super
lean.
lean, though.
Yeah, it was really, really lean. It was good. It was delicious. I think 10 out of 10. I'd eat it every day.
Really?
Yeah. So we get back to the scene. So so she's giving now. This is something that you can buy as well.
Hey,
It's
hang on one second.
Sausage.
Yeah, sausage. You can really buy that.
You
huh?
can really buy
So,
ostrich with sausage.
I'm
yeah.
going to give a little
and duck sausage too.
I've seen that. I'm going to give a little story about the town we're in. Used to be a store here when I was growing up. It's called O&H Rare Foods. And it was over on 25th. Nobody's going to know where this is, but it was over on 25th. It was this old German couple that ran this place. It was in a little house that looked like an old, like German candy house kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, it seems like the kind of thing that Hansel and Gretel, got shoved into an oven in. But you would go in there and they literally had rare foods. Like they would have lion meat in a can.
Lion meat in a can.
I remember my dad bought me chocolate-covered ants there.
Potted
to
lion
eat.
meat.
That was a big deal. Oh, yeah. You could buy shark steaks, all kinds of stuff there.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
But they went out of business a long time ago, and I really miss them.
Well, they do have a lot of those online.
I'm pouring a little bit of my Coke out on the floor for O&H Rare Foods.
They do have a lot of online exotic meat providers, though, that you can.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Well, this was way before that. Yeah. This was back when...
and it's all good quality stuff. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was Fossil something. I can't remember the name of the company that I use exactly, but...
Same people who make watches.
Yeah, maybe. But I've ordered meat from them a couple of times. I've ordered ostrich and some... I think we got elk or something from them once.
Oh, yeah?
But they do really good. I mean, it's really good meat. It's really good quality stuff.
Well, it wasn't Pollyanna Farms?
You know... I don't know. I don't remember. You know, it might have been. It might have been the same farm here.
So
back to the scene. Yeah. So
Amy is one of those people who's handing out the samples.
Yeah. So she's handing out the samples at the Pink and White grocery store, and the samples are Sausstritch. She works for the Sausstritch company, so she is a vendor here.
Yeah.
And so she asked this guy. She goes, "Care to try Sausstritch?" And he goes, "Oh no, my wife won't forgive me if I spoil my dinner." And in the true fashion of quote unquote
whore.
Peggy's quote, the whore, she uses Sausstritch to try to.
She gives him a saucy look, man.
Yeah, she does give him a little sauce. She goes, "Is she here? I don't see her." And he's like, "Well, maybe just this once."
Yeah, and he does try her meat. So
and then Peggy walks up, "Care to try Sausstritch?" And she goes, "No, thank you. What I'm here for does not remember contractions. Does not fit on a toothpick, and certainly is not made of ostrich meat. It is called the truth."
That's fantastic.
And then she puts her head down. And she goes, "All right, there is some turkey in it. Yes."
She goes, "Yes, I assume that."
And she goes, "Yes, I assume that." She goes, "Let me put this another way.
There is some turkey in it.
I want to talk about what happened, if anything, between you and a boy named Hank Hill in February about 20 years ago. Does that ring a bell?"
Says, "Who are you?"
"I'm a lot of things. I'm a mother, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife with some questions that desperately need to be answered."
They call me Peggy Hill.
It was a few weeks before Valentine's, and my boyfriend had just broken up with me.
Well, now they've moved on to the meat
Amy.
locker.
Yeah, they're in the meat locker. Yeah, they're in the meat locker, standing by the swinging body of cow carcass. Body of cow carcass.
Body of cow carcass.
It was a few weeks before. Yeah, we need a T-shirt that says body of cow carcass.
Body of cow carcass.
That's all it says on there. It was a few weeks.
It's like taking communion.
Yeah. And then it's got to be like stained in like blood. You know what I mean? And like it has to be an officially cow stained.
Sure.
So it was a few weeks before Valentine's. My boyfriend had just broken up with me. I guess I just had something to prove. It could have been anybody.
Now you get the flashback.
And you get the flashback. And
she purposely stops with her bike, puts her bell bottoms into the chain of the bike.
And lets him get caught in it.
Yeah. And she's
purposefully.
like, "Oh no, can somebody help me? My bells are caught in my bike chain." And of course, here comes Hank.
There comes Hank. "Don't struggle. You'll only make it worse." And then she tells Hank, "I just feel so helpless ever since my boyfriend was killed in the jungles of Vietnam."
He says, "Oh, darn. I'm so sorry about your loss."
Which would be weird because she's in high school. So if it was her boyfriend.
He says, "I'm so sorry about your loss. You're very brave to bicycle in the state you're in."
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, thank you. You've helped me so much. And then she just full on kisses Hank right on the face.
Right on the mouth, and he pushes her away and says, "No, I have a girlfriend." She goes, "Is she here? I don't see her."
Yeah, so she's been saying that for a while.
She's been saying that for a long time. Yeah, I don't see her.
He's fighting her off. She's still trying to keep.
She was trying to get Hank Sausstritch.
She's trying to get his Sausstritch and his saustrami.
His saustrami.
Oh, we hadn't said that yet. I'm so sorry. So we go back to real life, and she says, "That's the story. Here, this coupon won't take away the pain, but it'll take 30 cents off your next purchase of Sausstritch Light, or our new deli-style saustrami." Saustrami. Sausage Light. And Peggy fires off with, "Well, thank you for telling me the truth about my husband. You've really eased my mind." And then she screams as loud as she can and punches a side of beef.
Punches it hard, too.
Punches it hard.
And she'll mention it here in a little bit how hard she punched it.
So now we're back at the Hill house, and Hank says, "Peggy, it was over 20 years ago." She says, No, sir. It was just yesterday that we told Luann the story of how bad your bad back saved our relationship, remember? And that means you've been lying every single day since high school. That is thousands and thousands of lies. He says, "Okay, it's true. I did lie." She says, "Uh-huh." He says, "Oh, it feels great to get that off my chest. Like it's over." You know, he's just like, oh, great.
Give me a hug.
Give me a hug. I've never felt closer to you. She says, back off, mister. I do not feel close to you. This is a weird time because we have not seen Hank and Peggy really fight like this and be pissed.
And this quote from Hank kills me. He goes, Peggy, you got to understand, I was 17 years old. I spent most of my teenage years working on my offense. I had no defense.
Fantastic. Peggy says, then why didn't you just tell me? I would have forgiven you, Hank. I mean, I made out with plenty of guys behind your back. He says, what? She goes, of course I did not. But now you know how it feels.
Did not. Again, the contractions. I'm going to catch one. She's going to say one.
And Hank's like, okay, so we're even? She says, oh, no, we are not, Hank. I could forgive the kissing. I can even forgive the lying. But there's one thing I cannot forgive. Our marriage was built on a wonderful little romantic story. Hank, in my opinion, it was the second greatest story ever told. I'm assuming the Bible is the first one.
Maybe.
She says, but now we have no story. All we have is a big side of beef and 3 broken ribs. You break it, you buy it. That's pink and white for you.
Yeah. She broke the ribs on that damn side of beef.
You
got to hit a side of beef pretty hard to break the ribs on it with a punch.
And then it goes right out to the garage with Luann and Bobby with the Sawzall trying to saw the beef.
Sawing the beef up, yeah.
There's another shirt for you. You break it, you buy it. That's pink and white for you.
Yeah, then you got to get the logo, though, from the show. You got to try to find the logo.
Lovely. So now we get Bobby popping up. He's still worried about Carrie Strug. He says, so here's the plan, and he's talking to Luann. When my secret admirer comes to the door, you say hello, offer her a drink, compliment her on her dress or leotard. Luann's like, oh, you're so lucky to have somebody that loves you, Bobby. Right now, I'd give anything just to have someone say, Happy Valentine's Day, Luann. Bobby says, oh, Luann, have you heard a word I said? He's very worried that Carrie Strug's going to come to his house in Arlen, Texas. We then transition to the kitchen at the Hank Hill house the next day, and he just comes strolling through. Morning, Peggy. What'd you do to your hair? Her hair looks crazy.
Nothing.
Like, I mean, it is sticking all up. She's wearing a flannel shirt. She's wearing sweatpants.
She hasn't been doing much of anything, laying around moping. Yeah, she looks moped. Yeah.
She says, nothing. That's it. That's exactly it. Nothing. He says, huh. And then Bobby comes through. He says, bye, Mom. I'm off to school. She says, bye, sweetie. I love you, baby. And then Hank's like, I guess I'll be leaving too. And she goes, whatever. He goes, love you. She goes, right. Oh. I mean,
when you get that
is rough.
When you get the right, okay, yeah, that's when you know you either fucked up or you're sleeping on the couch.
You have screwed up bad.
Yeah, it's couch time.
So I guess we went through the entire day because now we're out in the alley with Bill and everybody.
Yeah, everybody's cracking jokes at him.
And Peggy comes out to throw the trash out.
Rough
she looks rough. Bill says, hey, I didn't know Peggy's brother was in town.
Yeah.
Hank just elbows him real hard.
Yeah.
He said, there's so many little things that women do that you just sort of take for granted. Now Peggy stopped doing all of them. It's like
she just got. It's like I just got some mopey gal with big feet who lives in my house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dale, of course, who always has.
This is funny. I like his advice here. He goes, "You got to do something that sweeps her off those big feet, Hank. Toss a little woo at her, see what sticks."
He says, "I don't know. I used up all my good material winning Peggy over the first time."
He's only good for one in a lifetime.
And Boomhauer's like, "I tell you what, put a little whipped cream on that old plastic wrap." I'm assuming what he's talking about is I've heard stories of people wrapping themselves in plastic wrap and showing up at the door naked when their significant other comes home, which I can't imagine is good for your skin.
You know what that reminds me of? Fried green tomatoes.
Oh, is that what happens in fried green tomatoes?
In fried green tomatoes.
Or does it literally remind you of fried green tomatoes?
Tawanda.
On
fried green tomatoes, played by Kathy Bates.
Oh, I love me a Kathy Bates.
She is trying to rekindle her marriage with her husband, who is a blue collar guy.
Yeah,
they're both they're an overweight couple.
Does she do that?
Yeah. So in an effort to rekindle their marriage, she comes to the drawer dressed. He comes home from work and she's standing in the doorway waiting on him, wrapped in saran wrap. And when he comes in, his response is "Get your ass in the house before the damn neighbors see you. You've lost your mind."
Well, there you go. Maybe that's what Boomhauer is referring to. And then Dale says, maybe you can steal something from a movie, like Lethal Weapon. Man, those two guys loved each other so much.
Oh, they did. That is a dynamic. No, that was a really good dynamic.
Yeah. And then Bill
Donald
fires
Glover
off.
And
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, yeah, I can't remember his name.
Bill, he fires off with, I'll tell you something I saw in a movie one time. He's just giggling the whole time.
Yeah, he is.
See, this pig got loose in a couple's house. They chased it around until they fell on top of each other, and they were laughing and giggling and loving. And then he just gets all choked up and starts crying over it.
And now they switch to a different scene, and it's Peggy and Hank standing there. Whatever.
Well, Hank is over there with
he's outside with his jacket.
He's
spraying the driveway or whatever, wetting the driveway up.
He makes a puddle.
Yeah, and then he calls for Peggy to come out. Well, when she comes out, she steps over the puddle.
Yeah.
So
well, she comes out and says, "Isn't that the jacket I made for you?"
Yeah, but the trivia is before she says anything about the puddle, or he mentions the puddle, her animation shows her stepping over the puddle.
Oh, really?
Before he even throws the jacket on the ground.
Oh, wow.
Like for her to step outside the house, she steps outside, then she steps.
Because that was the whole deal. He puts the coat down and wants her to step on it.
Yeah, she stepped over before he even puts the coat down on the animation. Whatever. Yeah, that was what the trivia guy gave me.
Yeah, she said,
fact checker.
Nice
RDX.
job, Artie. She says, "Isn't that the jacket I made for you? You said the gang stole the jacket because it was the wrong color."
Yeah.
She said, "If your lives were dollars, I'd have $100,000 by now.
I would live off the interest. Yeah,
I'd still have to keep my job, but things would be a lot easier.
Things would be a lot easier."
Yeah, and then the dog, and then Lady
Wasn't
Bird
the world
comes
going through a
up.
recession at this time in the 90s?
Oh, I'm sure. And then the dog comes up and just curls up and lays down on the jacket.
Yeah.
So we're back
While
in the
it's
kitchen.
in the puddle, like just lays on the puddle in the jacket and doesn't care.
We're back in the kitchen, and Hank is working his ass off trying to woo her back, just trying to get a little romance kindled back into her.
Yeah, absolutely.
He runs up behind her. She's washing dishes, and he says, "Guess who?" And she just screams because he knocks her glasses off into the water. She says, "Oh, you have gasoline on your hands." He says, "Yeah, I was cleaning tar off the driveway.
My eyes
and
are
so
burning."
Her eyes are just
and he starts trying to splash her while her eyes are burning.
He says, "Let's have a splash
Yeah,
fight."
Hank is terrible at, I don't know how he's even married. He is absolutely so repressed.
She's like, "What is wrong with you?" He's like, "Hey, where are you going? It's fun." He's trying to show her that splashing water is
super
fun.
repressed.
Then we see Peggy in her office, which is also the water heater closet.
Yep.
And
pig, who would just throw a pig into the closet
with
pig,
and in the background,
bouncing around, tearing everything up.
A pig comes in. It's got a little red ribbon on its neck, and you hear Hank go, "It's a little pig in the house. Oh, this is crazy. It's fun, like in that movie. Let's chase it together. I'll grab it, and you snatch the bow. It'll be romantic. Come on, it's pig chasing." And then you hear Bobby in the very, very background, "Mom, Dad, there's a pig in the house." And then Hank's like, "Oh, Peggy, I'm trying to be romantic here. I just wanted to make things right again." And Peggy says, "Or that you would need a time machine to do that.
And all you have is a pig.
All you have is a pig. You can't just make up a romantic story for us. The great ones just happen naturally. And right now, neither of us knows if that'll ever happen again," which is super sad, right?
Super sad. Yeah, like you're not going to have a romantic story again ever with your husband. I really don't. Like I said, I don't understand how they've stayed together.
I don't either.
To me, it's like, oh, we got a kid together kind of thing.
I guess when they're in peak Hank and Peggy form, though, there's nobody that could match them. I
guess so. Yeah,
they're pretty good for each other. And then here we get
only because they're equally repressed.
That's true. And then we get the pig and Lady Bird chasing each other around, and that makes Hank fall over. And Peggy is like, "Congratulations, Hank. You just ruined one of my favorite movies." And so he even screwed that up. But there is a pig loose in the house.
There is a pig loose in the house.
Which we find out later, it's still loose in the house.
Which is funny because I really like those odd scenes where you have Bobby just randomly yelling something from the other room. We missed it just a few minutes
Dad,
ago.
There's a pig in the house.
Yeah, where he goes, "Mom," yeah, he screams from the other room. And I like how you could hear the echo too, like he's really yelling from the other room.
So now we are back we're in Bobby's room, and this is the Carrie Struggs situation. And he's got all the same kids that were there before when they were talking about the fact that it's probably just from Carrie Strug because they were talking about her. And Joseph says, "When's your date going to get here?" And Bobby's like, "How should I know? I don't even know for sure who she is or if her leg is fully healed," referring to Carrie Strug's broken ankle. They ask where they should hide, and Bobby says in the closet. And he says, "Don't play with the dry cleaning bag. You could suffocate." They hear the doorbell, And the boys are asking, hey, where's Connie? She'd want to see this. I thought she'd be here, says Joseph.
Yep. Nope.
And then from the other room.
Boom. Luann yells, hey, Bobby, your secret admirer is here. And it's his damn grandma.
It's his grandma.
Grandma loves you.
She says, happy Valentine's Day, boo-boo.
And then it says Boggle Cubes rattling.
Yeah, which I don't really understand why it says Boggle Cubes.
I think right there in the scene transition, because there's a scene transition right there where it goes from the grandmother kissing him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, the Boggle. They're playing Boggle when they're talking about what Hanks.
You're
That's
right.
yeah, my
You're right.
bad. Because it switches scenes. So this is a swing switch.
Swing.
So this is a scene switch. The Boggle Cubes rattling is the next scene.
I was kind of confused as to which grandma it was, but now we know that it's Peggy's mom, and she is much older at this point. But
much older than what she ends up being later on in the show. I don't know. It's weird. Your grandma loves you.
Dooley is there. Your grandmother loves you.
Your grandmother loves you.
And so now we're in the kitchen, and Peggy is commiserating with all the ladies in the neighborhood. One of which is Nancy. She says, you cannot believe what Hank has put me through. I've never seen a more pathetic series of unromantic, childish stunts. Nancy's like, oh, Shug, first he thinks flowers are going to make everything better. And the other ladies are like, they just don't get it. That's typical, giving flowers and stuff. And then she says, then, I love this story. Then he actually drank a whole bottle of champagne out of one of my pumps. So, number one, her feet are so big that it holds a whole bottle of champagne.
And Hank drank a bottle of champagne out of her friggin' shoe.
He says
he did a shoey. You know they call it a shoey? You know what's even gross about that? I watch UFC, right? And there's a wrestler from Australia. I can't remember his name right now, but he's this big, huge guy, really big, burly guy. And one of his traditions after he wins, because he wins a lot, that's why I know who he is. Right. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't know him.
Right.
And he'll grab a shoe from a random person in the audience. Like as he's leaving after he wins or loses or whatever, and he'll fill their shoe with beer and do a shoey with strangers' shoes.
Yuck. That is
But that's
gross.
a shoey. That's what that's called, folks. So if you
super gross
fill a shoe full of alcohol and drink it, you're doing a shoey.
My wife does not want me to do a shoey.
I don't want to do a shoey. That sounds like a quick way to get athlete's mouth.
Is that how you get foot and mouth disease? Hoof and mouth disease?
I thought that was from eating cow brains.
I don't know what that is.
Bad cow meat.
But she also says that her charcoal pads filtered out most of the alcohol, but he still got tipsy enough to sing a Chuck Mangione song. And then the girls start humming it. Do you know the name of the song?
No, I do not.
Feels So Good.
Oh, Feels So Good.
That's why he's always on the Megalomart commercials saying it feels so good to save money on these chocolates or whatever.
I don't know that song.
Yeah. I don't know that one. She says, that's our song. He said he lets a rented pig go in my house and he tries to get me to chase it. And Nancy's like, oh, just in that like that famous movie, right?
Famous movie, yeah.
She says, and he ends up flat on his back in bed, and you can see her kind of coming around now, like she's getting it. That Hank really does give a crap.
Of course he cares.
She says he ends up flat on his back in bed on Valentine's Day, just like in high school. And then the other lady's like, you could write that story down, put Fabio on the cover, and sell it at the airport.
That is one of the sweetest stories.
Yeah, it's one of the sweetest stories. And then Peggy finally gets it, and she says, Nancy, could I borrow your cell phone for a moment? She calls Hank, who is in the other room getting better. He's just laying down on the bed.
Yeah, and then they do this.
Here comes the phone sex again.
They do the weird food phone sex thing, beef Wellington.
He says hello. She says, hello, Mr. Hill. He says, this is Miss Platter. She said, oh, well, good evening, Miss Platter.
Yeah, she goes by her maiden name.
Well, what do I owe the pleasure of this call? She says, well, I'm calling to let you know that your dinner is ready. And he's like, what'd you make for dinner? She said, well, I thought about it and decided to make you beef Wellington. He says, beef Wellington, huh? How'd it turn out this time? She said, well, I'd have to say it's pretty perfect. He says, of course it is. That's your specialty. She's and again, it's just a little
food.
creepy.
They just go on.
Right?
Yeah, that's how I was okay with skipping all of that, honestly. And we got to do it for continuity purposes, but that's just I don't understand this. I guess it's because they're so innocent in a sense.
Sure.
Or I wouldn't repressed. They're not innocent, they're repressed.
Yeah.
Since they're so repressed, they can't even have phone sex.
No. She finally ends up in the doorway of the bedroom, And he's like, well, I tell you what, Peggy, that's my favorite. Mm-hmm. And then it fades to black while Feels So Good plays in the background. I just wrote down
weird.
I wrote down the word sex with a question mark
Yeah,
because
weird
I'm
illusion.
assuming that's what happens. But his back's out.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
She cooked a couple. She's got a pie baked just for him.
Cherry pie with a golden brown crust. So then we get our credits. Gave you chills.
The visualization. Yeah.
So we get our credits, but during the credits, we get the pig chasing scene.
Yep.
So there's dishes shattering in the background. You hear Peggy saying, "Mother, be careful. That woman in the movie was 30 years younger than you." And then you see the pig run by. You see her mother run by. You hear Luann, "Stay out of here. This is my room, you pig." And
Pig in the house. It's crazy. It's fun.
Yeah.
Come on, Bobby.
That's the grandma. She says, "Come on, Bobby."
Yeah.
And then
Mother tells her, "Do not live," or Peggy tells, "Don't lift that, mother."
Keep the pig on the ground. And my favorite part is Bobby sitting there eating chocolates, and then in the background you hear Luann say, "Am I supposed to kill this pig?"
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
That was a good episode.
It's
yeah.
a great episode. Yeah, it shows the love between the two of them. It shows how repressed they are, but it does do a lot of character development.
A lot of character development.
And it introduces Peggy's mom.
Yeah, no, it did. It was a good episode.
Good stuff.
I really
Peggy's got
didn't
big
like the
ass
phone
feet.
sex stuff though. Yeah, Peggy's got big ass feet.
It's pretty creepy.
It was weird. Yeah, it's not one of my favorite episodes for that, but it has some really good jokes. It has
but
some
it's got
really,
good
really
stuff,
good
yeah.
jokes.
Well
really,
written.
really good jokes.
Very well written. But all these are.
Well animated too. I like a lot of the animation and stuff. So the next episode is season 2, episode 15. That's our next one, which is a con-centric episode.
Oh.
We get a lot of con in the next episode.
Not like the con man, but Susan.
Yeah,
Susan
phone. We get a lot of him.
Yeah.
And again, we just want to thank everybody for supporting us and listening to us.
Man.
Yeah, we appreciate all the support.
Big numbers.
Last week, it'll be last week for you guys by the time you hear this.
Yeah.
We did really good on numbers, and we appreciate everybody.
Did. We really appreciate it.
We jumped up to
we're number 2.
Yeah, number 2 on the podcast on the network here
on the
Media.
network. Yeah,
So,
it's been
we're doing great. Again, appreciate all y'all support. If
Where
you want
can
to
they
contact
find
us, you can contact us. You can contact us at roguemedianetwork.com.
Hey,
Bwaaa, you can get Bwaaa there, as well as a host of other whole bunch of content there, a bunch of other podcasts.
And on pretty much every social media platform, we are BWAAKOTH, right?
BWAAAKOTH. 3 A's. Yeah, 3 A's. BWAAAKOTH. And that's
So
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And I'm trying to get better about posting more content. I believe that's what helped us with a lot of our numbers that the previous week was the amount of social media I was posting.
It's not like Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like the Automobile Association of America. So it's AAA. Not AA.
Yeah, AAA, not AA.
It's the little batteries, not the big
the little
ones.
batteries,
Yeah,
the Roku
sure.
remote batteries.
All right, so BWAAAKOTH, almost anywhere you can go.
And roguemedianetwork.com as well for telling you a lot of great content, a lot of great content.
Good stuff. There is another show that I want to mention that I do with a lady here in town. It is called Found Sound.
Found Sound, I love it. Yeah, it's great.
It is a small little show, not doing big numbers or anything, but if you guys get a chance, please listen to it.
Yeah, guys, it's a real great show. So the premise of the show is these guys hunt out recorded cassette tapes. So
old cassette
tapes. So they'll, thrift stores, grandma's closet, whatever it is, they pull out these cassettes and they play them for the first time in front of each other.
We
and
don't
react
listen to them before. The first time we listened to them was on the podcast.
So it's dangerously great. It's a dangerously good show.
This episode has not come out yet when this one comes out, but we had something really weird happen this last week. We listened to a cassette and there was some children playing on it, right? And then we got into some that were just like blank tapes and stuff because that happens sometimes.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
And so we figured, okay, well, let's end the show with the children playing again. Couldn't find it on the tape again. Creepy.
Oh, wow. I can't wait for that.
Creeped us out.
Make sure y'all tune in for that. That's Found Sound, FOUNDSOUND. Found Sound.
It's a lot of fun. But hey, guys, join us again next week, and we really appreciate all your support. Let us know if we can do anything for you.
Appreciate it.
We won't give you money. We Matanye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.